So the youth Sunday teacher says to the little children, she said, you know, if you sell your car and you sell your house and you give all your money to the church, do you get to heaven? And all the little kids say, no. And she said, well, you know, if I go down to the church and I cut the grass and I help the staff and I start doing things around there, can I get to heaven? And all the little kids said, no. She said, well, what about, you know, you help animals and helping all these other people in the world, do you get to heaven? No. And she said, well, what do you do? I mean, what needs to happen for you to get to go to heaven? And little Johnny says, you gotta be dead. you know, in Unity, when we talk about heaven, we're not talking about a valuable piece of real estate. We're not talking about that at all. We're talking about a heaven consciousness. We're talking about the ability to come from such a prayed up vibration in your life that you really believe in the possibility of abundant living. That's the heaven that we are connecting into. Yes, Ernest Holmes would say that the kingdom is at hand, and yet it is a mental attitude that allows us to understand that the heaven consciousness is something that we must make a mental agreement upon in order to have it. Do you agree with that? Yes. Charles Fillmore would say spiritual consciousness is what we brought to this earth. It's what is innate and natural about us. That we are blessed to live in the abundance of God, that in natural life and natural laws, everything is available to us. You know, I was thinking about the envelopes that I get in the mail every week. I'm sure you get them. It says, you've been pre-approved. Oh my goodness, you can just have anything you want. You've been pre-approved, right? Well, you have. Your life, you have been pre-approved. You've been pre-approved by the Creator that brought you life. You've been pre-approved by the God of your being that has brought you this life and said, here it is. It's yours for the taking. It's your energy. It's your choice. But here's the thing. With all pre-approvals, there are terms and conditions. You remember that? You know, like you get those cards and you think the interest rate free and all that. You get a shop till you drop. And then you read the little thin line, right? There are terms and conditions to the spiritual path that we live and move and have our being with. There's terms and conditions. We can reject it. We can reject the laws. We don't have to accept an abundant life. We can turn it down. We can pass on it. We can spend our whole lives telling the same story over and over and over and over again until we get it memorized, and everybody in our life memorizes it with us. And that is what we will continue to produce and reproduce over and over and over and over again. And nothing or no one can ever stop us from that reality if that's what we choose. That's the terms and conditions to being pre-approved. So the question today would be, if you are pre-approved, here's your carte blanche on life. Where are you spending your time? How are you using your prayers? And what is it that you're going for? Turn around and look at somebody and say, I'm going for the big good stuff. Decorations and the birdhouses up for this particular Sunday, because I wanted to share with you a story. Some of you have heard it before, but so many of you are new, or like our friends from Cincinnati are visiting today, and our friends from Orlando, and they haven't heard it yet. Back in 2008, I believe it was, we were getting a new youth family minister. And so Diane Collins, the administrator at the time, was going to walk me upstairs, and she was showing me his new office and how good it looked. And as we're coming back down, I look, and on the stairwell are all these birds lined up. They're all in a row. They're kind of hitting each other with their wing, and they're all looking. And I said, Diana, they're all looking at me. What do they want? She said, oh, we were hoping you would wouldn't notice that. There were these gutters that were on the wall, and we had to tear them down. They were really messy. And so we took them down to make everything a lot nicer for Stephen. And I said, well, top priority. Our whole goal as a staff this week is to get these birds some homes. And so we went into youth family department. All these bird cages were around, such as the ones you see up here. Some look like log cabins, some look like high-end condominiums. And they're spread throughout the grounds, you see. And you can imagine those birds that are flying over to Fort DeSoto, come and visit me at the campus. I live in log cabin number 4. It's yellow with the green shutters, that kind of thing. And these birds, at the same time we had been teaching 4T. And we had been saying every Tuesday night 100 times, I am prosperous. I am prosperous, I am prosperous. Say that with me, I'm prosperous. I am prosperous, I am prosperous. So when the birds no longer had their home, naturally they awaited what was coming. That is the way that life naturally works. Whatever you lose, 100-fold, it comes in its place. What happens, more often than not, is people keep telling the same story about what they lost. And so what they continue to manifest are things that they're going to lose. Everybody take a big breath. When we went out there and praised the birds and said, gosh, what a beautiful home you have. It's amazing. They didn't go, yeah, but, we used to have this other home. They took it down. And I can't believe they did that. No one asked me how I felt or anything. Down, it's torn down. And this is supposed to be a church, too. No, the birds just went, here it comes. Here comes my goodness. Here it comes. Here comes my blessing. I'm so glad this is out of my way. Because the blessing's right over here. That's right here. I can feel it. I'm waiting on it. Wow. What power in that. Isn't that the purpose of the Master Teacher Jesus that said, I have come that you may have life abundantly? What did he mean by that? So you could be saved from yourself and your identity of using old laws that you learned that are people-made, that are guaranteed to keep you all your life in bondage, that are guaranteed to keep you from a life of freedom. If you just believe what everybody says to you without practicing what you know naturally that is possible for you. Does this work for you?
Yes.
It's working for me, so I'm going to just roll with it if I have your agreement to go with it. Yes. And so it's that part of knowing the whole point. There's new laws that you can use. And we tell that same story every week in a different way. Use the new laws. Use your innate laws. Those are the ones that work for you. In other words, what New Thought says is we spend way too much time in theory and not enough practice. Not enough practice. When you look at Scripture in Matthew 16, verses 25 through 34, I believe, it talks about, do not worry about your life. Don't worry about your food you're going to eat, about the clothes you're going to wear. Don't worry about all that stuff. Because you've been pre-approved. I added that in, it doesn't say that. But you've been pre-approved. You don't have to worry about all that. That's a concept. People go, oh, they say I'm not supposed to worry. I don't worry anyway. But it's a concept. But if you read a little further, it tells you the practice, so you don't have to worry. The practice says, seek you first the kingdom and his righteousness, and therefore all things will be added unto you. Seek the consciousness first, and then all other things will be added to you. When you are prayed up, when you are living affirmative prayer, when you are joining a consciousness that you know your good is rushing to meet you, and not even you or me and our personalities can keep it from us, as hard as we try to keep our good from coming at times, with our ego, too much ego selves, we cannot be in the way of that when we are in that prayer space and in that consciousness. I, as a young girl would attempt to tell my dad many times why I was late or why I was involved in Unity. That was about a 3-year conversation. That was back then, you know, before Oprah went to Agape and things like that. Just saying. Anyway, he wouldn't let me finish my story. It would be so aggravating for me because he wouldn't let me finish my story. I just got, well, maybe that's why I became a minister, so I could finish my story. I don't know. So I just say, thank you, Dave. But I didn't get to finish my story, and I'd go, Now, as he got older, and I did, it was different. So for all of you that are therapists and you're concerned about that, we worked it out, okay? But he wouldn't let me finish, and I always thought if he'd just let me finish my story, it would make great sense to him. And the epiphany I had this week, that must be how our Creator feels. We don't let our Creator finish our story. We don't let our Creator finish the story when something's been taken from us, or we've lost something, or our heart's been broken, or we've been surprised by something, or death through a family or friend has knocked on our door. We don't let often our Creator finish the story out because we hang on to what has been done unto us. Even though we're people that shall not be done unto, we create the story over and over in our reality and in our prayer work, and we get a committee and we tell everybody we could possibly know about what we've lost, versus, I don't know how it's all going to work out, I just know it is. Does that ring true with you? Do you resonate with that in any particular way? Does that connect?
Yes.
Yes. So, there was a president that was coming into office, and when he welcomed when the former president was honoring his successor, you know, he wished him well in his next 4 years, and he said, you know, you're just going to give it the best you can, and you'll have lots of help. He said, but I'm going to give you, just to help you out, I'm going to give you 3 envelopes. And he said, when you're going through hard times, they're numbered, and I want you to open one of them each time. He said, okay. So the President of the United States then is now in office. And so after the honeymoon's over, everything's happening, then people start saying how we have this economy problem. And so he opens envelope number 1, and the envelope inside says, blame me. So the president says, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, it's not my fault, it's the other guy that was before me. And so time goes on, and then there's problems with foreign policy, and it's a big deal, and so he opens envelope number 2, and it says, blame the party. Oh, that's what he did. And so then there's domestic crisis going on throughout the country. And he opens envelope number 3, and it says, make out 3 envelopes. So because I love you, and because I'm on this journey as a student myself, I've made for you 3 envelopes that I feel are very important for your life, in order to get where I believe you want to be. Envelope number 1. Do not blame anyone ever for anything. Everybody breathe. Do not blame anyone, anytime, for anything. David Owen Rich would say, whatever we experience in life, we either create, promote, allow, or step in. Do not blame anyone. Anytime you blame, anytime you're telling a story, anytime you triangulate, anytime you're saying, you know, so-and-so and that, and those people over there, and that group, and that job, and that people, you are a victim. It's not empowering. You're already giving that energy and that essence and that power that what belongs to you is you. The question is, how can I do it differently next time? Practice that. How can I do it differently next time? How can I see where I have contributed to this situation? Emily Cady, in the Lessons in Truth, the manual for unity, would say, do we want freedom or do we want bondage? As long as our good is attached to something or someone else, we are not truly using our whole heart that we've been pre-approved in order to have. Does that resonate with you?
Yes.
It's like when I allow, what I allow is out loud. Let's look at this quote. What I have allowed is allowed. Can you get that? What I have allowed is allowed. That is the out-picturing of what my life is singing, and what my life is saying is what I have allowed. So in every area of your life, your finances, your health, your friends, your connections, everything that you have, your relationship with your family, what have you allowed? Because that is what is allowed. That is what is making the noise in your life. And when you own, and I own, our contributing part of that, then we can shift or change what up till now we have been allowing. Easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Envelope number 2. When you face it, you will erase it. When you face it, you will erase it. Often we think of that as being something we're letting go of, something we are dismissing in our lives. I'm getting ready to do like a sacred Eastern thing up here. Anyway, I'm talking about when you face what's calling you. The voice doesn't go away till you face what's calling you. Now, about several months ago, somebody was asking me, was I into yoga? And I said, I do night yoga. And they said, I've never heard of that. You have Yoga Village, we have yoga classes, what's night yoga? And I said, well, that's when you're sleeping at night and one of the cats or one of the dogs come in and they lay on top of you. And so you kind of wake up in kind of a twist. You know, and you use muscles you wouldn't normally use because, you know, you just got to be aware of where they are. And they kind of got it, kind of like some of you did, but whatever. But anyway. And so then I had somebody give me, for a number of presents, DVDs that show you how to do yoga at home. And I said, isn't that nice? It's so nice. I appreciate that. Well, the other day I looked in the trunk of my car, and I guess the other person I lived with decided there's a yoga mat in the back of my car. I thought, I think some signs are coming. Well, if that wasn't enough, I was at the concert Thursday night in Clearwater for the jazz trumpet player, the famous one, Chris Bodie. Do you know, I kid you not, that in the middle of his 2 songs, he talked about the value of doing yoga. Okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. So I'm committing to you out loud that I'm about that this week, and I'm going to start. Okay? What is your call? What's calling you? What's asking you? What's seeking you? Because you cannot erase it until you face it. What is that? And the third envelope, it says very clearly, love you, then you can love God. Love you, then you can love God. It's in that order, you see. And we've been told in other traditions and other boxes and by other people that weren't teaching empowerment, it's not okay to love yourself. And as long as you feel it's not okay to love yourself, then there's this separation from you and God, there's this separation from you and other people, there's this perceived separation with everything because you perceive that it's wrong to love yourself. And people that really want you to be self-actualizing will tell you it all starts with you. That actually to celebrate you and to celebrate how much you inwardly love yourself and how much you care about this life you've been gifted, in that space, that is worshiping God. That is adoring God because you're adoring what's happening through you. Your inner sanctuary, your dwelling place. Often, especially in 12-step, they get people in that have had the hardest lives and they say, well, you gotta love God. And they don't love themselves, right? And so you start with that so that then you can have this relationship. Anytime, any counseling, any life coaching, anytime I've been with anyone over 25 years, including myself, what I know to be true is when there's an issue related to God and other people, it's a need for me to love myself more. Everybody breathe that in? Breathe that in? Yeah. Love yourself. And then you may love God and others to the depth that they deserve to be loved. You have issues with others, you have issues with yourself. It's just how it works. It's called cause and effect. Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your plain small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. I'm going to read that one again if you want me to. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, unconsciously we give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. To me, that's one of the best medicines of anything I've ever read, is this statement. So, you've been pre-approved. Let your light shine. Bless you. Thank you for coming.